Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin Tom Hayes.
We had some opportunities offensively. I don't know with the stat sheet so much, but I think we left 12 men on base, and we did have some chances against a pitcher who was pitching very well. He was ahead in the count all day long. 0-1, 1-2, 0-2. He pitched very well.
South Carolina will be back. I hate that these kids went through this year and they feel some responsibility in regards to the NCAA tournament streak, but next year we can start another streak. If I have the right kids in that dugout, I think that they will.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Here on a Wednesday, we'll be back with you from Hoover. Honestly, I would have preferred to still be in Hoover, Carolina, because that would mean they're having some success. But being one and done, as they were yesterday, they're back here in Hoover. Meantime, it's Kevin McCrary up in Durham covering Clemson in the ACC tournament. Stop me if you've heard this already. A team has one run on 6 hits and misses out on scoring opportunities that might have won the game. Not talking about USC yesterday, guys. Came back and talking about the Tigers today. Same scenario. One run on 6 hits, and they blew chances to score more runs and possibly beat Florida State.
Yeah, no doubt, Corn. Clemson had a lot of opportunities to scratch through on the 7th inning. They had the bases loaded. 8th inning, the bases loaded. They had 2 on in the 9th inning. They left 7 on base in the final 3 innings, 4 in scoring. And despite out hitting the Seminoles 6-3, despite the fact that they didn't commit any errors and Florida State committed 2, they lost 3-1. All 3 Florida State hits came in the 3rd inning on Matthew Crownover, and all 3 runs came a tough day for Clemson.
Yes, it was, and I don't know now. My thought was they would be playing their way out of the NCAA tournament backwards for them, and now they have to face Louisville, a team that started beating them 2 out of 3 this season, and they're going to face Louisville's best and flat out hit the baseball.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I said before, a lot of times you play a great team. I don't care how many times you play them. They find a way to beat you. And I thought the worst draw that Clemson could have had if they sweep Florida State and didn't have to play them again. But, boy, I'll tell you what, you would think the Tigers would have found to push some more runs across because you got your ace going. If anybody you want to get runs, you got to do something exotic as far as being aggressive on the base paths. But Clemson has played well in the last week or two, solid hitting, and they thought they'd come through, but they just could not come up with that big hit with the sacks drunk late in the ball.
Well, when your opponent only gets 3 hits and they commit 2 errors, you kind of feel like you're going to win the ball game. But Clemson's offense, which had been pretty good, they did not deliver today. Duggar had a couple of hits. And Rollman had a couple of hits, but they just didn't come at the critical time, and they lose it 3-1. We'll update other scores, and we want to take your calls tonight as well.
Kyle Funkhauser. "90 strikeouts. Fucks, man." They can Corn hear me? I can't hear him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's up? Did you get my stuff? Okay.
No, everything's fine. Perfect.
Good.
Corey.
You want to try a quick rebootation of McCrary here?
I think you should.
Yeah, give yourself. We've got 3 minutes. You want to try to reboot and just get a little bit more crisp? Came out and give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting every other word from Phil and them. Okay, let me
give it a rebootation, and I'll just pick up the invite.
Okay.
Dial back in. Bye.
Check one, check one. One, check one, check one. Check one, check one. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's not good. Check one, check one, check one, check. Check, check, check. Uh-oh, it's frozen. This thing's getting worse. Damn, Miami laying the hammer down on him now.
Okay, we're back. It is Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia Main Street. Sports Talk, your sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. And we're so happy to have you with us after another long, hard, tough day at work. Glad that you're kicking back and joining us here on Sport Home. Maybe you're out for a jog, dog, hanging out with the wife or the girlfriend or both, whatever the case may be. Glad you're making 156-7266. Good time tonight to really catch up on a number of big items. Touched on some last night, but we were so busy with South Carolina postgame and everything else going on with the first day of the tournament, didn't get a chance to get to your calls. So tonight, for you to get in touch with us about USC baseball, the end of the season, Clemson baseball, maybe the end of the season ahead for them if they don't win another game or two in the ACC tournament. Transfer of Everett Golson to Florida State and what that means to the ACC Atlanta has the power, at least the perceived power, going into this season, which had been resting with Clemson, now shifted to Florida State with Everett heading Tallahassee. We'll talk about that tonight as well. And plenty of other things to kick around, NBA playoffs rolling along. And yes, count me in the crowd that says, please stop bringing your babies to post-game press conferences. I mean,
Amen.
There should be such a thing as professional decorum in a post-game press conference, college, professional, whatever the case may be. I thought that was press night for Steph Curry to have his little girl there. I know she's cute as a button and all that, but come on, man, it's the NBA playoffs. Would you do this after the World Series? Would you, would a judge hearing a case have his granddaughter sitting on his knee as he's handing down the verdict? And don't tell me it's sports versus other business. Serious business. To me, it's serious business. Maybe the rest of the sports world's become so so fan friendly that most of the people in the media are polarizing me. I find it offensive to the profession of reporting and journalism. I take it very serious, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see professional basketball players with their kids up there after ball games. To me, it's a serious time. We'll talk about that as well. K-Mac, Clemson losing today, and what? You're chuckling.
No, I've got my little one here. She's going to co-host a show with me tonight, so it's going to be all Dora the Explorer. No,
you're a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The new age reporters, they don't get it.
I'm with you. I agree with you. I absolutely agree. I was watching that last night, and I was horrified.
Yeah, I will say
But don't bring Sydney into the discussion.
Well, I tell you, you're horrified because, of course, she took the stage. That's what.
I don't care if she took the stage, did cartwheel stood on her head.
Because some of the kids have sat there and they're just stunned, so they just sit there. You had no complaints, but when one shows off personality and craziness, then you get freaked out. But I will say this: I think some fans inadvertently asked for this, and the reason I say that is because
you mean fans posing as reporters?
No, fans have asked for this because. Remember how image conscious the NBA is. First, the dress code. Now, I think the players are figuring it out, saying, okay, a lot of sports fans call us thugs. Okay, we're going to show them we're family people, family men.
Well, if you weren't getting busted for drugs or robbing somebody or killing somebody, you might not be called a thug.
That's the NFL.
That's the NFL.
Not the NBA. But the NBA has painted that way, and I think these guys are every chance they can get to suggest to you that they're not this, they're doing it and some of them. Unfortunately,
I don't think that's. I mean, it's more so that they want to show off their kids, and I get it. I mean, parents, we're all proud of our. Just because we love our kids doesn't mean everybody else wants to stare at them during a press conference. And these reporters have a job to do. They're trying to ask questions, and this little girl's waving and underneath the podium.
Could you imagine if Sean Kemp brought his kids to a post-game press conference? It'd be like a small kindergarten.
Now, see, you bringing up a guy that's been out of the league for 20.
That's so mean. You're bringing Sean Kemp into this thing now. That's
awful. Kids in every
Okay, let me be cold there. Suppose Larry Bird brought the daughter that hates him.
I'd be opposed to that. I'm love Larry Bird.
He would have never done it. Larry Bird would have never done it. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, they would have never done something like that.
They're very professional. Now, after Clemson loses today,
they're going to party and go their paramours after the game.
After Clemson loses today, K-Mac, I know it was a downer around the Clemson baseball program. They were so high coming off the sweep of Florida State, and we'll hear. But I mean, what's the sense now looking ahead to next week? Or do they still? Jack was pretty confident that they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. What about now after this today?
Well, he still thinks they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament, and that's always going to be the case with Jack Leggett. They're 31-26 now. Georgia Tech losing, yes. South Carolina losing yesterday. That's good for Clemson because those were two other bubble teams that are now off the bubble and out of the picture. But there's no doubt about it. Clemson was on the inside of the bubble looking out going into today, and they might still be, but they have to get another win, maybe two, and if they beat Louisville, they're in. They're firmly in. That's a top 5 team, the number 1 team in this tournament. So they would certainly. But if they lose to Louisville and only beat North Carolina, will that be enough Monday if that's the case?
Mm-hmm. All right, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Got a lot of email and comments on the website to get to. The website is SportsTalkSC. A lot of stuff on Twitter @SportsTalkSC, and Facebook is Sports Talk Radio Network. Let me update some of the other scores. Clemson lost. Miami in a back-and-forth game that's still going on in Durham. Miami has put 7 on the board in the bottom of the 8th. Miami, a red-hot team, vying for a host spot in the tournament, which they'll probably 9-5. Miami is 42-13. 22-8 in the ACC. So this game has gone back and forth. Miami led early. Virginia put more than the 6th to go up 3-2. Then they put 2 on the board in the 8th to go up 5-2. Now up 5-2. Now Miami has come back with 7, and they lead at 9-5. That's the game of the day there in Durham. The last game coming up is North Carolina and Louisville, correct, K-Mac?
That is correct, Corn. And of course, the Louisville will be, I consider their ace, Funkhauser, but he's not throwing tonight. He's throwing tomorrow against Clemson. Louisville's throwing their other ace. They've got a very bevy of pitchers. They're throwing Brendan McKay in that one, 8-2 with a 1.64. Clemson will face Funkhauser, who's 7-4 with a 2.9 ERA.
Get the funk tomorrow. All right, at the SEC, a couple of good games. Both went down to the last at bat, and Texas A&M rallied to beat Alabama, scoring a run bottom of the 9th, 4-3. And Vanderbilt was down to Missouri, scored in the 9th, bottom a 10th inning, and they won it in the 10th inning, 7-6. Auburn LSU just underway, and coming up, Arkansas against Florida. Rain has play in Charleston for the Southern Conference Tournament. No games. Well, I take that back. I think they got in earlier today before the rains came, and Samford beat Western Carolina in 10, 8-7. The Wofford and Furman game start time. That'll be the last game of the day. The Citadel-Mercer game will now be at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. VMI and Greensboro will be at 12:30. Then they'll have a game at 5 o'clock. Western Carolina will play the loser of the Wofford-Furman game, and then they'll have a loser's bracket game tomorrow night at 8:30, as long as there's no more rain issues. We'll tell you about the day in the Big South so far when we come back.
Oh, boy. I mean, this is just –
All right, they're playing this at Gardner. It's Coastal Carolina rolling it up on Winthrop, 6-0. They are in the bottom of the 6th there, so Coastal Carolina looking good in its game this afternoon. And earlier today was a winner over Charleston Southern, and that ends Charleston Southern's season. Campbell wins at 8-1, and Longwood defeated Liberty in an elimination. That final score still to come there. Radford plays High Point. All right, you're up to date on the baseball. Some other things Denzel Johnson did sign this morning with Clemson. We'll talk more about him in recruiting a little bit later on. Wide receiver. I'm going to say something about this right now, horse tonight. Haven't had a chance to get on my high horse in a while. Wide receiver, defensive back out of AC Flora High School. Very good-looking player. Saw North-South game. And, in fact, I spoke with a coach today who was an assistant coach in that game. Loved him as a player. And that means 2-star. I don't know what these star rankings mean. That's just utter ridiculousness. And, again, to put that kind of a label on a player, he's good enough to get an offer from Clemson. That should be enough right there for you. End of discussion. Now, if they've made a mistake recruiting-wise, then that'll be on them. Somebody labels a player as. From this point forward, it's how hard you work. Will the talent rise to the top? What kind of break you get, et cetera, et cetera. But, this man deserves a lot of credit. He did not give up on the dream of playing major college football. He worked hard on his grades, got that done. And Dabo Sweeney stuck to his word and told the kid, a while grades, we'll take you. And kick returner, corner, receiver, multi-talented athlete. And they slap a 2-star label on him, even 3-star label, whatever that means. I just think that's the biggest scam, one of the biggest scams in college athletics right now, with this recruiting rating system. Well, I don't know about all that. I just think it's ridiculous. I just think it's ridiculous.
Because I think a lot of kids, when you mislabel them, that stirs them on. We've seen so many 5-star kids walk in wearing the 5 stars and think that's going to get them over and don't work. 2-star guy comes in, and I the kids you had at the what was it? Was the Shrine Bowl? They think we kids from these Sunday schools can't play. I'm going to show them I can play. That's the kind of attitude those guys have when you lower their level and think they can't play the game of football.
I think that was didn't he go on to Clemson and play linebacker?
I think
that was the kid from Lakeview that played linebacker at Clemson. Speaking of the Tigers, quarterback Cole Stout released by the Chargers today. He went there for the mini camp as a free agent, and they released him after the camp. Chase Reddick from Boston College, 4-year starter for the Eagles. He spent last year in the
K-Mac, you there?
Yeah.
Are you still having return issues?
The return I'm getting every other word. I mean, other word break it up. I can make it out. I just want to make sure I'm not as busted up when I'm talking.
No, you sound a lot better than you did, before you reboot. So, it's not, the best in the world. There's a couple minor garbles, but everybody can use context just fine to piece together what you're saying. As long as you can somebody hear what just keep.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I was as bad as my return audio.
Yeah, no, you sound good.
All right.
Once we come out of this, I can just.
You want to do it that way? You want to do it down there? You're more comfortable that way? Okay. K-Mac, we're Jack here in just a minute. Coming out, so he's gonna have you lead into it.
We're all going to talk about Steph Curry's kid. We're in the Eastern Conference Finals. We're going to talk about Steph Curry's kid. She took over the post-game news conference. That's what 2-year-olds tend to do.
Now I feel like I need to take a shower after looking at it because I find it to be despicable. But the definition of the rating systems, the rankings, rivals a two-star player is a mid-major prospect, and also ESPN a two-star player, which what Denzel Johnson has been assigned means he's overmatched. Versus players in the nation. They're but have the ability to develop into solid contributors at the non-BCS FBS level and could be a quality fit for the FCS level of play. So, why are you signing a two-star player? Why would any team sign any player that's not a, quote, 5-star player? If you're not going to sign the very best, why sign any of them? And my point in being facetious here is that it's buying high school players. And it's a disservice to them. It's a disservice to the fans. But, of course, the crazed fans on the internet, they want to read about the stars. So all they care about is the stars by these players' names. I guess because they don't know much about them as players themselves, and that's the way they trust the judgment of who knows who's I'm just saying is in the case of Denzel Johnson, anybody who saw him play this year knows he's a good high school football player who can develop into a starter at Clemson. He could have been a starter at South Carolina probably, and to already pin him as a two-star and people are saying, why is Clemson signing this guy? That's pretty ridiculous.
Well, my point is, even if you believe in a star system, it doesn't bring credence when you see it doesn't explain how teams like Baylor and TCU thrive, because they have to, a lot of people say they get the leavings out of Texas and then they're pounding it up on the test.
Well, I mean, look, Abu Lamine was the #1 ranked defensive lineman in the country when he came to South Carolina by those who scout and rate junior college players. #1 in the country. No quite in South Carolina.
He looked like #1 junior college.
So what I'm saying is
–
that's why when you hang everything on what you read regarding these rankings, good, bad. All right, back to K-Mac now at the Ace. Clemson falls today to Florida State 3-1, 1 inning. That's all it takes in baseball. 1 inning did them in, K-Mac, and it puts Jack and the boys up against the wall.
Corn. They need to get at least another win, and preferably tomorrow against Louisville. And we know that won't be easy because the Cardinals are the number one seed in this tournament. They won 2 here. We can listen in on the post-game news conference now. Jack Leggett is who you will hear first. The players, Matthew Crownover, who was a hard luck loser, the ACC pitcher of the year, 7 innings, ACC pitcher of the year, 7 innings, only allowed 3 hits, 3 runs. And by the way, those 3 runs, they all came with 2 outs, and they showed an error because it wasn't a routine play. But Reed Rawson had a beat on the ball in left field and just mistimed his jump, and the ball went over his head and hit the wall, and it ended up being a 3-base hit for the DJ Stewart, the Seminoles 3-hole hitter, and that made it 2-0. And then the next hitter, Naporti, knocked in Stewart, and that made it 3-0. Those were the only hits of the day for Florida State. So here's Jack Leggett, Matthew Crownover, and Stephen Duggar, who had a pair of hits today.
Matthew, past couple innings off, we some opportunities offensively. I don't have a look at the stat sheet so much, but I think we left 12 men on base, and we did have some chances against the pitcher who was pitching very well. 1-2, 0-2. He pitched very well, and he's got a really good out pitch. His changeup is a really good out pitch. When he gets ahead in the count like that, it makes him very effective. But we still had some opportunities, and just didn't quite come up with all the runs in one inning. And other than that, it was a good ball game.
All right, we'll take questions from the student athletes. Please wait until the mic is passed to you.
Hey, Matthew, talk about that third inning, especially that play. He was that close to the wall when he went to go make the catch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he made a pretty good play. I just can't. I think he's going to be a big league player. And I made the mistake of getting up an 0-2 9-hole batter, then walking the 2-hole batter who I had pretty good success with the last 2 games. So that's my mistake. That guy is going to play in the big league, so I can't try to let him beat me. I got to beat the other guys.
Matthew, just to follow up on that with Stewart, you faced him a few times, obviously, last couple of years. What makes him such a tough out? And
he doesn't chase bad pitches. A lot of guys, you can throw some pitches that chase out of the zone, but he's not going to swing unless it's a strike. And he got me today. He out pitched me. That's all it comes down to.
In the front here. Right.
Matthew, I know that this is disappointing, but just briefly, can you talk about winning?
It's a big deal. By no means did it distract me today. It didn't distract me at all. It's a team award. My teammates scored a lot of runs for me throughout the year, made some plays behind me. And it was a great honor, but I'd like to keep it rolling today.
Excuse me.
And then you pitched fantastic today. What was working for you today?
I feel like I was kind of out of sorts for a while. My 4-seam was kind of cutting on me, so I had to kind of add and subtract with my sinker all day, my sinking fastball. But, I tried to get ahead. I fell behind a lot of batters early on. But, really, besides 13, they didn't get a hit, I don't think. So, I should have done a little bit better damage control, but, the good team beat me.
Steven, this offense has been rolling pretty good the last few weeks. Was today just especially struggling with getting so many?
Coach and Crown have both alluded to, Boomer kept us off balance. And then Silva came in and Stroke came in and did a good job for him. I think anytime you get late into a count and they've got all 3 of those guys got plus out pitches, I think it makes it difficult to get a hit.
The last question for the student athletes.
Steven, talk about the next 2 games are going to be obviously big games for you guys, and trying to make sure you're in next week's tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just about understanding the challenge. We're going to see Falk tomorrow night, and we all understand what kind of pitcher that guy is. So we can get a good night's sleep tonight and come out ready tomorrow.
Questions for Coach?
Jack, in the 7th inning there, what did Jolly tell you why he didn't go when you were trying to single him around to come around?
When they threw the ball away? Yeah. My mind was going, and I was him along. He was thinking a little bit different than I was a little bit. more conservative at that time. I saw something different probably than he did because he was coming in third base and I was watching the whole play. We still had some opportunities and it's one of those things where, we've been getting those big hits and we've been playing like that. We'll come back and play well tomorrow.
Tougher to make it to Sunday. How do you approach getting these guys back up and kind of recapture some of that momentum and swagger you had at the end of the year?
Well, we've still been playing well. We just, we just established today, and you got to give them credit. I thought they pitched very well today. They did a good job. They didn't make many mistakes. We had, the mistake that they did make, we could have had an opportunity to take advantage of it, but didn't. But we got a lot to play for, so we'll be ready to play tomorrow. We got a lot to play for. It's important ball games for us. Number one seed in our conf. Great year tomorrow, so play for sure.
K-Mac, I had to mute you there to play the segue music out of there. So if you want to unmute yourself.
right, it is time for our Braves Report tonight with Mike Morgan, brought to you by Mattress by Appointment. So simple, you call, you save 50 to 80% on premium mattress sets. 803-530-8549 by Founders Federal Credit Union, helping South Carolinians attain their financial goals, and by Play It Again Sports off Ballard Parkway. Less for more. We welcome in Mike to the program. I have to request before we start the interview that you please send your children into the room and let your dog out for a walk. Not the NBA where you can have all of your offspring sitting next to you as you do a news conference.
Well, I don't have any offspring, which might be a good thing for the population as a whole. But I can promise you, if I did, I wouldn't use them as props on a post-game press conference.
Just to get the sympathy.
I've never found the. I look, it's a cute kid, and by the way,
all cute.
Yeah. By the way, Steph
Not all
Curry
of
is my favorite player in the NBA. So this is not hating on Steph, because I'm a huge fan of his game. I don't know when this became popular. It's like, hey, but I'm sure many people found it.
Yes, I'm sure they did. All right, to the Braves and losers last night. You didn't do me any favor. See, I need the Braves to help me with Tampa Bay. And, of course, the Braves need the Yankees to help them with Washington. So neither one did each other any good last night.
No, I didn't really look at it from the Yankees standpoint, but now that you bring it up, yes, clearly they disappointed Pinstripe Nation. It one of those things where Fultonevich did not have his best stuff last focal point, and Tampa kind of roughed him up, made a couple of mistakes, paid dearly for it, giving up 5 earned runs. Tonight, you might have noticed since we started this season in my tone that I wasn't real excited about Stoltz or Trevor Cahill in the back part of the rotation. Well, they are both gone now. They have been demoted. Stoltz, the latest casualty, he's now been demoted to the bullpen. So Williams Perez is getting the start tonight. He's had 2 outings this year. He's been rocked. I don't know if there's really much promise here, but he's going to get the chance to show what he can do. It couldn't be much worse than Stoltz or Cahill.
Any relation to Pasquale?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No. Nor is he related to anybody named.
I don't like people who last name.
Hopefully that he can clear his name with a good performance tonight.
Well, Pasquale wasn't a large drink of water, but he was wiry. This guy feet 180. Usually you're seeing more, maybe even 6'5". When he's what does he do well when he's on?
Well, first of all, the 6'1" is right. I don't think he's been 180. That was a lot of buffets ago. He's closer to about 230 now.
Wow.
So he's a little bit of a stocky guy. In terms of what he does, I haven't seen him do much of anything well. He's only thrown in 2 games this year, and he got roughed up in limited action. I think I'll be learning, just like those that are watching at home tonight, what this guy has. But there hasn't been much in his career that has been overly positive. He's not a guy that lit it up in prospects or anything like that. This is just hey, let's give somebody a shot. I think there'll be some other guys before it's all said and done that are going to get a shot in those 4 roles. I think Fultonevich, I shouldn't say that. I think Fultonevich is going to be pretty stern in there, but I do think they're going to mix and match with that number 5 spot, whether it's Williams Perez tonight or some other guys they bring up 5 days from now.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Have yourself a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Perez's birthday is tomorrow. He'll turn 24. Good way for him to perhaps celebrate early his birthday. 2-0, 1.33 ERA in 5 starts at AAA Gwinnett before getting the call up to the big league club. Earlier today, Houston. You have to say they're for real now. We're deep enough into the season where they continue to get great pitching and continue to win. They beat Oakland today 6-1, and they're just running away with things. West at at this point. They show no signs of letting up.
Decided to rebuild, move to the American League, playing all youngsters, and now it's paying dividends.
Absolutely. A lot of recruiting to catch up on and get to. We'll do that after the break. All right, got to catch you up on a lot of recruiting. Be up to speed on some things we haven't had a chance to get to. But again today, Denzel Johnson, 191 of AC Flora, did sign his financial aid papers with Clemson last season, 69 catches, 910 yards. Paladin coach Bruce Fuller announced a late addition in offensive lineman Brandon Maddox, 6'4", 274, North Augusta. He spent last year at Air Force Prep. Clemson has missed out on a second week. Last weekend, Jack DeFore of Calhoun, Georgia, committed to Ole Miss over the Tigers and Georgia Tech. And last night, Clark Yard, Duke, Florida, Virginia, also on his short list. USC's the now offensive lineman Pete Leota, 6'5", 307 from Asheville. ACC offers North Carolina, Virginia, Forest also offers from East Carolina, Appalachian State, and Georgia Southern. Only visit this spring was Virginia Tech for the spring game. USC, Boston College, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, and North Carolina came through during the evaluation period. He plans to visit USC this summer. In fact, he was talking today with Sean Elliott, USC offensive line coach, and making plans about getting in to see South Carolina this summer. Defensive end Xavier Kelly is 6'5", 248, Wichita national recruit. Clemson is in on him. He's very interested in Clemson, he said, has family in the Savannah area. He has nearly 30 offers. He'll narrow his list to 5 to 8 at the end of the summer, not focusing on any particular schools right now. Clemson defensive line coach Marion Hobby was in to see him this month, and many other big schools have been through as well, to announce at the Army All-American game January 9th. Last night we touched on this. Wide receiver Kyle Davis, Decatur, Georgia, decommitting for commitment that he ended with an announcement on Twitter, and now he is opening things up. South Carolina will be in the middle. SEC schools like Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama figure to be strong and in on him as well. Cash Daniel, Paintsville, Georgia, will announce on August 13th. USC is one of his offers. Today, USC offered 27 Cade Weldon of Tampa Jefferson. That's Garcia's old high school, and his father is Casey Weldon. And 6'2" shooting guard Keyshawn Woods visited USC on Monday. He's transferring from Charlotte. He enjoyed the visit, enjoyed meeting with the coaching staff. He's also looking at possible visits to Auburn, Creighton, Butler, St. Joe's, and VCU. He'll make a decision later on this summer. There you go with recruiting. Top of the hour break here on Sports Talk. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of